Hi, Ms. Megan. We are now recording.
Hi.
So, yep, just wanted to record, record, and for posterity, but also, mainly the whole reason why I do these connection videos is because I've really been surrounded by a lot of people that were impactful on me in my life, and sometimes they've come into my life very interesting ways. I met you when you were a little kid. And I met your sister when she refused to talk to me, and she always just like grimmed me like hard for a long time. And I was like, dude, I'm the one that likes kids. I don't even understand what's that about. But and so having kind of grown up with you to an extent, and watch you grow up, I've seen you just made an impact on me. You're like I said before off recording is your grit and your determination to be successful and your strive to be better than opportunities presented to you. Now, just because I know you personally, there's many reasons why you didn't necessarily have to be successful, and you didn't have to be independent. You didn't have to be self-assured, and I'm not saying you're all like, we're not always anything, because
Right.
we're humans, and some days we have good days and some days we're like, why did I eat that cake? That was my yesterday, because I had a bag of these bagel chips, and then this morning I woke up because the bagel chips woke me up before I wanted to get out of bed, and I thought, I'm super regretful for my bagel chips. And Donna is too, because they're garlic, and she's like,
Nice.
yeah, she's like, that is not attractive, because you can't breathe near me.
Anything garlic.
No. So, but like, and one of the things I think, being without this time to reflect, and now not everybody's doing that, which to me seems a super huge waste of opportunities. But for me, like, people will pop in my head, and I'll be like, how I reached out to you before everything kind of locked down about something different, about a different avenue I'm exploring and stuff. It's just, I wanted to like make sure I took the opportunity and made the effort to let you know that I see you as somebody who is persevering, who is caring and loving and a good friend. And contrary to maybe situations, it, yes, you had opportunity to learn being caring, but you also had opportunity to learn being selfish and egotistical and heartless and just bizarro. But you went the complete other way, and you didn't just survive circumstances growing up, because some people, let's be honest, like, I survived growing up mainly because my parents put me in rehab, because
Right.
left to my own devices, it was a hot mess. And because I was from the mean streets of a middle American Caucasian male in Livonia, Michigan, which is like, I had everything going for me. But
Right.
mine was self-caused, whereas yours was a lot of external. And you know being that everything's fast-paced and moving, and days fly by, but days last forever but years fly by kind of statement, I don't think I've ever told you that, how proud I am of that part of you. Yes, I've told you I'm proud because you were good at soccer, and I was very proud and happy that when that building collapsed, it didn't kill you. Like, that was pretty awesome. Like, how rando. But
Terrifying, but
yeah, like, I don't think I ever told you, and because it's almost like we're always in a hurry, like what you said, which was, I don't remember, I'm just going to paraphrase, but it was, the only thing we have to do is life, right? Like, that's, everything else is kind of part of it, and it's the grand scheme, and nobody's making out alive anyway.
right.
It's going to win. And so being able to, for the last 5 months, and being more introspective and closer to who I am naturally and what makes me me, which is taking the opportunity, which is usually not normal, or it definitely wasn't normal before, to sit there and tell people, hey, you know what? Not on a surface level, but I'm really proud of the woman you are. I'm proud of, yes, I was proud of the athlete you were. And once again, I told you that stuff, but I'm proud of the woman you are, the friends you are, you know, the family member you are. I consider you my niece, which is kind of interesting. So I'm like, is that weird? I don't know. Is that weird? I don't think so, because they're my family. Like, I treat them like my family. I gas on them as if they're my family. Like,
Right.
I mean, but so instead of judging myself for feeling that connection, I just wanted to let you know specifically that you have such amazing qualities that I'm not sure. I think it's such just part of you now that I don't know if you take time to actually go, huh, that's kind of like that. Like,
Sure.
okay, job. Like, okay. Because once again, that's not your nature. Your nature isn't, you're almost like the opposite of me. All three of your sisters are the opposite of me, where they're like, I'm looking for somebody to pat me on the back. I'm like, have you patted me? Did you see? I got up this morning. How awesome was I? Like I told you, I shaved. I was an adult male. Oh man, I'm so good. Which drives Donna nuts, because she's like, dude, you're so much. And I'm like, you knew this. You knew this. You got in. It was your choice. But I think people who have that grit, one of the commonalities I've seen in the years of being around people and working with people and just knowing people, people who have grit tend not to take a moment and be proud or like really let it set in that, oh, because it's almost like, listen, if I'm not constantly doing this, I know what the alternative is. And so it's so I don't think it's a bad quality necessarily, but I think it's important that, you know, even if you hear it from other people and you know, because I don't see you sitting down and going, I'm going to write 50 good things about myself. I don't see that coming to fruition anytime soon necessarily, unless you're like in a hot mess point. You know what I mean? Like most people don't do that, because you're like, nope, let's just go. Let's just go. I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to, you know, I'm going to succeed. I'm going to succeed. And so, like as somebody who's known you for more than a minute, I think I have the ability to say over the span of your lifetime that I've met you, which has been since you were basically, I think, 7 or 6, that you have so many amazing qualities, and it's really awesome. And it's just, I don't want to be all weird, be like, it's a privilege to know you, but I'm grateful that you were in my life, and that I know somebody like you, especially being so young and already driven and already, you know, goal oriented. And so I think, like I said, I think it's unusual. It's sad that it's unusual that people don't have this conversation more often.
Yeah.
And so I'm like when we initially got on and you went, hey, I get to do stuff, and you know, I'm safe at home instead of locked at home. I'm grateful, because then people answer they'll do these Zoom things because they're available, because they can't say, oh, I'm busy doing laundry 7 feet away. Like, I don't care. I'll talk to you while you're doing your laundry. Don't even do it. So that's mainly the reason why I'm doing these things and interviewing, because I'm only interviewing people who have made an impact on me. And the more people I think of that come into my head, it's like I get almost overwhelmed with, man, I've been around a lot of amazing people. Now, it's a weird thing. It's just, somebody pointed out yesterday, you know, the media is talking about these first responders as being heroes and everything like that. And yet they know their shortcomings. They know that some of them might come home and like start drinking because that's the way they're going to fall asleep. And, you know, like, and then it's that paradox of, okay, people are calling me a hero, or Jeff's giving me credit for doing this. And maybe earlier this morning I was thinking, man, I'm really kind of not doing anything with my life. I'm a piece of crap and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden somebody gives you a compliment, and it is sometimes a challenge to not to be able to live in that duality, if that makes sense, of having qualities, but yet not being perfect. But we view it as either I'm good or bad.
Right.
And I think that's a false narrative, because that's like saying, nope, I'm only Republican or I'm only Democrat, because that's like saying, okay, anybody who has a different idea is not a smart idea. That to me is so limiting that it's scary, because then you're like, well, isn't that bias? And isn't that like the whole opposite of being collaborative and working
Right.
together, like as humans? We won't even say humans, because I understand like a lot of people don't like China, but we'll say as Americans, or as Michiganders, or as southeast-ish Michiganders, or you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I just wanted to let you know that I think it's cool that you make an impact, whether you know it or not. And
Yeah.
I mean, it reminded me too, when I was talking to you about you coaching your girls soccer, your women's soccer, and yes, it was interlaced with a bit of annoyance. Like, yeah, I have to teach them some certain things about life skills,
Right.
but you cared enough to understand that was part of your job. Like you took that as, yeah, it's because they're the whole person. They're not just Jill, the center forward, or Barb, my left back, or they have lives and they have things, and you're like, listen, you can't just be MIA for 2 days and then just like call somebody.
Yeah.
Use somebody else's phone. I remember you going, use
Yeah.
somebody else's phone. Like, what?
Yeah. Your phone's about to die and you don't let anyone know. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I was walking downtown Detroit by myself. Oh, phone's dying. Oh, we're not gonna freak out. So, but stuff like that, I don't know if you look at as qualities that you possess, because that's just your natural you, if that makes any sense.
no, it does. I think that everything you're saying is like you said, it's almost interesting for me to hear because I don't hear it often, which is not a bad thing because that's not why I am the way I am. I'm not the way I am to get that reassurance or to get those compliments and stuff like that. So it's nice to hear, obviously, because it is reassuring that the things that I do make me a good person, but at the same time I think it is just who I am. It's who I was grown up to be. It's who I was. I have many people, many situations in my life that made me kind of who I am. So that's kind of like the gist of it, but I don't know. I think that there's so many things that go into it too. It's like hard to pinpoint. It's hard to pinpoint why I am the way I am, but I also know in the back of my head that there are so many things that I could think of that made me this way, I guess. So, and
Well,
obviously I appreciate you saying all those nice things because like I said, it's just not many people take the time to do that. I don't take the time to reflect on myself just to go through kind of those qualities when I could take more time, but like I said, I don't do those things. All right, I'm not the way I am just so I can get that reassurance
yeah,
always.
yeah. You don't do something for an atta girl,
Sure.
but
Sure.
and I think one of the things, because I always found interesting is, but if I asked like, hey, pinpoint 3 things that you're not that good at, those things you have locked and loaded, you could be like, oh man, I'll tell you a couple things that, you know what I mean? So,
Right.
but what I think differentiates you from somebody who struggles maybe with depression, self-loathing, I'm going to an extreme, but
Yeah.
is that they use that locked and loaded against themselves all the time. And so they'll say, well, yeah, but I don't get up early enough and I don't, take time to reflect on myself. And then when you say, yeah, I don't take time to reflect, all of a sudden they're like, yeah, see, that's another thing I don't do. And you're like,
Right.
whoa.
Right.
Whereas you're kind of like, okay, maybe in the back of my head, maybe I can reflect on some good things, and include that in my, all right, so here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. Because once again, I find people amazing because I think it's interesting the way people think, because the way, like exactly what you said, you are the sum of all your experiences to this point and what
Yeah.
you've chosen to do with that.
Right. And when you first said that we were going to talk about mindset, I was just like, oh no, like that's a lot. And not in a bad way, but it's just like exactly what you just said. Everyone's mindset is different. Everyone's mindset is not the right mindset for another person.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can look up a definition of mindset, but that doesn't mean what it means to everyone differently or specifically, because there's so many things that go into it. My mindset's different than yours. It's different than, everyone else's. And it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to like comprehend. But I think if you understand kind of just like everyone is in their own mindset and you're just okay with accepting that, I feel like that's a good start.
See, I think that's huge because that's very well put, very concisely put, because, all these people, everybody, especially now, wants hacks, life hacks. Give me life hacks. Or, even back in the day, like self-help books. Give me a self-help book that's going to help me. Well, part of it is a lot of people have self-help books or even Audible, and then they don't even listen to it or read them. And you're like, well, that would start.
Well, they're looking for help, but maybe the help is not external. It's just reflecting on themselves. So
Correct.
did you
Yeah.
even need that book? Maybe to give you some ideas, but I feel like people shouldn't be telling you what to do or what the right way to think is, because, well, maybe I think differently, and
Oh,
that's okay.
yeah. And I think that narrative is something that I'm going to bring more to these, because that's what I naturally do. That's why I said I like the individuality of people. I like that people are beautiful, crusted, weird snowflakes, you know? And because originally, like when I thought about going back into doing motivational speaking and inspirational speaking and, leadership training stuff, even though I was still already doing it, one of the things I like doing leadership training is trying to figure out how people learn and how
Yep.
people receive information, because everybody's lens, like exactly what you said, everybody's lens is different. And some people's lenses are foggier than all get out. Some people's lenses are like, hey, there's an outside world. You're still looking at only you, dude.
Right.
But so that's when I questioned, well, what do I have to offer? What am I going to say to somebody that, like, when I reached out to you about talking to girls, I was trying not to poop my pants just thinking about doing that, because I'm like, what am I going to say? I was never a top level college athlete. And then I realized people are human.
Yeah.
And part of for me, mindset training is accepting where you are when you are. So, a lot of people will judge themselves currently from a previous standard or a standard in the future, which isn't even fair. If that's like saying, oh, I should have. Okay, well, then how about next time you do? Or, like, but that's what it is. I was like, I know I'm powerless to make anybody make any decisions. And I was like, so what am I going to offer? And really, I'm going to offer that point of view of what you just said. The way you think of something isn't right or wrong. It's the way you think of it. Now, if it's beneficial to your goals, like first, once again, that's like you said, I have to figure out, okay, what are my goals? What do I want? What do I like? If it's beneficial, guess what? Keep doing it. If it's not beneficial, let's come up with a different way to then get to that goal. And so, but that's like exactly what you said at least 3 times, which is, I kind of have to, you didn't say necessarily check in with myself, but you kind of have to look inwardly and evaluate yourself and say, okay, I have this view of myself. Is that real? I have a view that I'm a really sweet, unselfish person. Like for me, I was really unselfish and giving at the gym. And then I realized, well, my partner wanted the gym to be a certain way. And when I agreed to that, I immediately tried changing it. So that's not really, oh, that's not a nice pill to swallow, because that's accountability of, oh man, I wasn't what I exactly thought I was.
Sure.
And sometimes, coming from a fragile state of mind when I was using and stuff, I didn't ask those questions because I was aware of the answers.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think I really like, I was saying about you is, I don't know if you almost view it as, well, I don't have a choice, but you wanted the answers. You didn't care. You're like, no, I want the answers. Okay, okay. Am I happy with that answer? Yes or no? And then, but it was like, no, I'm going to find the answer. I want the answer. I want the answer. Which to me took me into my 40s really to fully embrace that. And you're like 16. Yeah. I'm like, when I'm playing soccer, I'm kind of psycho. I know it, but not to my team. To my team, I'm like, I love them. I literally, you're like, I'm ride or die with my team. But somebody on the other team, I might be friends. We might have played pickup. We might have played travel. But I'm going to shank you and probably step on your thigh. But then later I'll be like, hey. Which I always found fascinating, because I don't really have that killer instinct. I have killer instinct when it comes to loving on people. That's it. Like, I really am Olaf. That's all. I am a human unicorn. And so I'm a magical snowman. Not Frosty, though. Although I am starting to, if this quarantine goes on longer, the Frosty is going to be a possibility. I'm telling you right now.
Uh-oh.
I'm getting stronger, but I think it's because I have more weight to throw weights around. That's not good. Oh, but yeah. So going on that, how then do you approach your girls for coaching them, knowing that? Because like I said, I think that's an awesome point of view that you have, that you understand. You're gonna, like, how many girls will be on your team?
Well, I have 4 youth teams, which are like 10 girls each. And then the college level is like 25 to 30 girls on a
Okay,
team.
so you have like 70 girls varying in ages.
Yeah.
How do you approach that? Because some people may vomit and want to poo and get overwhelmed.
Well, I think it's understanding that everyone's different. So coaching, you're teaching, and you have to understand that if something doesn't go the way that I want it to, it's fine. If something goes better than I wanted it to, it's fine. Like, I think that after experiencing that everyone, or not experiencing, but accepting the fact that everyone's different, everyone thinks different, everyone just is so different, why am I going to get upset with they didn't listen to me? Well, yeah, they just didn't listen to me. Like, I can't control that. I'm going to do what I think I can do to control it. But I think there's days where if something doesn't go right, you get frustrated because you put time and effort into kind of planning the session, or you have time and effort to plan whatever activity is you're doing, and you don't get the right response. Yeah, that's pisses me off, because I spent so much time, making this a thing, but then it's just like, well, is that the lesson? Like, like, just, did they not need that? Did it not work out because of a reason? So accepting the fact that things might not be perfect is one thing, but also the reflection process of, one, should I do that again? why should I do it again? 2 is, should I never do that again? And why do I never need to do that again? So I think that coaching is teaching. So it's like basically having them understand. Do they understand? Okay, yes or no. Why? Do I get mad at them? No, I shouldn't get mad at them. I shouldn't be pissed at them. I can be pissed after, because it's just like, shit, I spent so much time, like it didn't go the way I wanted to, but I can't get mad at them individually for not understanding or not caring. Sometimes it's not even about them understanding. They just don't listen. They don't care. And I think that that's more with the younger ages, obviously,
Yeah.
because them being 10 years old or 8, 9, or 10 years old. So I don't know. I think that just maybe understanding that everyone's different. And I can't read your mind. I can't go in your brain and have you understand me. So,
And I love that, because that really is yourself. To me, it sounded like you said your self-esteem is not tied to the outcome, and your success is not necessarily tied to the outcome, because the outcome has so many other variables that you are unable to control. It really is like, hey, so I can control this. Did I like that reflection though? That honest reflection, like an after action report. Did this go well? Yeah. What went well? Did it not go well? What didn't go well? Did they need it? That's one of the things I've done, where I was trying to teach somebody something at the gym and it was just weird. And I was like, that was just the weirdest hour. What? And then I realized it was important to me, not to them.
right,
They didn't need that lesson. And I was like, well, that's not cool.
right,
Because I realized, if I'm the only one upset right now, why is that? But I think it's important, like you said, if you don't have that natural caring or the desire, I think the desire to be good at what you're doing, you don't reflect. You don't.
right,
And so that you made it a point to say, you're teaching, and your sister's a teacher, and it's like including people in reaching to people is important in your family. I mean, I know that anyway. Like, family's important. Um, as functional or not functional as it is, it's important. And it's mainly fun, really. And it's interesting for sure. But it's connection. That connection is important. And so I think one of the things that I've been trying to focus on, while we're doing all these quarantine stuff, is that connection. That's what I'm doing these for. Is most people, everybody has their story. Everybody, like you said, everybody has a story. A lot of people don't realize how impactful they are.
sure,
And one of the things I think is awesome about you, same with Al, is that you're trying to make a difference. You don't have, like you said, you don't have control over whether you do make a difference, even though most times you're making a difference. It's the fact that you're taking your time and your effort to prove you care is a huge deal. And like, whether or not Susie, who's 8 years old right now, who half the time picks her nose in the field, and then when she gets the ball, she dribbles past everybody and scores, and you're like, "Hey, Susie!" Then you're like, why don't you just do that all the time? And
right,
that might not be her gig.
right,
But you're understanding that the fact that you were there at that time was the best you could offer to her to be a positive impact on her. Now, agreed. I don't know if people who are naturally helping people, and teachers by nature and coaches, think that explicitly, but that's well, I want to be a good coach. I want to be a good teacher. I want to be positive impact. And I think just talking to you is part of the reason, not even part, I think explains to myself what commonalities all the people I've interviewed so far have. And it's I want to make a difference. I want to be there. I want to be good at it. I don't want to just be there, because being there is like showing up. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's good. You can show up and still suck. But you're like, I want to be good. I'm driven to be better. I want, even though, because it's not comfortable to question your motives or question, was that a dumb plan? Was that necessary? That's especially when you're a college coach. All of a sudden you're going, am I a fraud? Should I have even done that? Was this stupid? Like, half the time I'm like, people are going to find out. I don't know what I'm doing. But nobody knows what they're doing. We're all just trying to do our best. And the people who I think are successful, like you, are the ones who are, okay, I'm happy with that, but not satisfied. Or you're striving.
Sure. And I think that the reflection process is kind of newer to me, because when I was playing myself, I reflected as a player. Like, did I play good? Did I score a goal? Did we win? Was I healthy? Like, those are the things that you reflected on as a player. But now that I'm on the other side of it, I'm reflecting on totally different things, but I'm still a part of that same game. So as a coach, for me, for my little ones, I would say it's less about winning. And the hardest part about that is they want to win. Mom and dad want to win. So it's almost like I'm going against what they want. Because really, I'm there to just make them better. I'm there to have them run around and have fun. But if you do that, you could win.
Yes.
So it's like, as a coach, and I think that's a little bit different than teachers. I am teaching them, but like a school teacher, obviously they want them to do well on exams and stuff like that. But like coaches, you can't just focus on winning, because even though that's what everyone wants, well, how are you going to do that? Like, you can't just show up, like you said. So I think the little ones have taught me a lot more regarding the goal of it. So what's the goal? Well, yeah, obviously we want to win, because winning's fun and that's what is portrayed in sports. But I think that almost the best part about having the job that I have is, one, the connections, and that's just like natural that I like and I come across, but it's just that impact that you make on them of like, okay, well, maybe we only won one game, but like they have fun. Like, I don't know.
No, I think that's a huge thing. That's why with little leagues and all these other stuff, it's the parents. Good God.
Yeah.
Because the kids, like, and something as simple as when kids are playing, if they're friends with somebody who's on the other team and something happened, it's not until later that you would step on their thigh and maybe score a goal. But even then, immediately, if you knew something was going on at home or whatever, and you knew that, like, that would still be in your head, because you understand there's bigger things at play than just winning or losing.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, coaching little ones, because
it's, what's the point? What are you doing? Like, you're coaching them. Yeah. Why? I'm teaching them to win. No, you're not. I don't teach them to win. I teach them how to play the game.
Yep.
So
and at the end of the day, it's a game.
the older you get, the more there is to it.
Yes.
Because everything turns into a competition.
Yeah.
And we're experiencing that now during quarantine. The basically U.S. soccer canceled a whole league. It's very complicated, but basically everything's a competition when you're older. So it's not even about the game anymore. It's just about who has the better team, who goes to better tournaments, who is the better this, who is the better that, who spends more money.
Yeah.
I like coaching the little ones because I can just teach them how to play.
And the impact is almost immediate. You can see they're smiling, they're,
Oh yeah.
just the same with something as simple as part of the reason why I was not good when you were, I think you were 16 and you ran by me and you really could have easily put me into the wall. And I thanked you as you went by me. Like that's how I played, because I'm like, I'm aware that this 16-year-old is way better than me, to the point where she's passing it off the wall, goes around me instead of going through me, and I'm like, yep, thank you. That was awesome.
And I still have those moments now when I go and play co-ed and I play against a man who's bigger, faster, and stronger than me. I'm going to let him get the ball. It's the same thing. Why am I going to go against him? Because I want to show that I'm better than him? Well, I know that I'm not better than him because he's a man who's big and strong.
Yeah, it's different.
And I'm going to tear my ACL going into a tackle against him.
Correct.
Like,
but I think, yeah,
you got to think about it.
Yes, it's but your ability to reflect is, like I think you said too, is more honed and learned. I think it's
sure.
Part of it is probably a little natural.
Yeah, and I'm very thankful for the people who I've recently been around. So just like other coaches, my bosses and stuff like that, because they've also been very honest with me too in the reflection process. So I've gotten a lot of compliments, but I've also gotten a lot of pointers, tips, suggestions. And if anything, my mindset to that is to be thankful for it. Because understanding that I am a human and I'm not perfect and I can make mistakes, and having other people's opinions is not a bad thing. But it's also like, do I need to take their opinion? Sure, I'll take it. I'll think about it. But maybe it's just their opinion. So, but those people who are giving me these opinions and suggestions and recommendations are also the same people who have explained how important reflection is. So it's like they're helping me in two different ways. Yeah. They're giving me actually the suggestions, but they're also having conversations with me like, you should really reflect. It is a good thing. It is, everyone is different in that way. So it's cool. I think that, I am very lucky for the people who I am around, including one of them, the biggest person is Charlie. Like, and I think that he has a similar mindset, which is why obviously we're married. So which is crazy, but he's been a helpful hand to that. So I don't know.
It's
deep.
But I love that, because people in general just accept having superficial relationships, and I'm like, and it's funny because I talk, this, I talk, but I don't talk just to hear myself talk. I talk because I do want to know. I love this stuff. I want to know. It's amazing to hear how mature you've gotten in a positive way, not crusty and jaded. You know what I mean? Like you, like you said, part of the reflection is being grateful that somebody cares enough to give you feedback.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
And sometimes, like I've learned some amazing things from people I did not want to take feedback from. Oh man, I was like, oh, I don't think you're gonna say words to me because I could blow up your house. I could burn this place down. You don't want to. But realizing, like what you said, wait, can I get something out of what they said? And then you're almost mad about it because you're like, "Ugh, yes.
Right.
But now I'm just grateful when I get that reflection or I get that little nugget of that's gonna help me be better. That's cool. And so, but then of course when you're grateful, I'm not as bitchy and I'm not all pissy and moany. I'm a lot less annoying to be around. And then when it's that saying, if life looks like shit, take your head out of your ass. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of
Well, it's just
great.
like also why waste your time being upset or like being annoyed, being pissed at those recommendations or suggestions that those people are making when all they are is a suggestion or recommendation. Like it's not like they're forcing you to do those things, but I feel like a lot of people and I do it. I'm not perfect. I get that, but why waste time being pissed and upset? And when like I said earlier, I do get pissed if something doesn't go right, but you'd only spend so many minutes. Okay, I'm pissed, move on. I'm pissed,
But
get over it.
that's I think
Which is the reflection process.
it is, and it's also understanding like when any of my athletes would do bad or whatever, or have a bad workout or whatever, bad showing, I'd say you have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Which is like I read that from Navy SEALs. That's what they said. You have 5 minutes. Like literally, stuff could happen. People could have gotten hurt. And they're like, you have 5 minutes. You can berate yourself as bad as you want to. You can call yourself every name that you can make up names about how bad you are of a person. After 5 minutes, you're going to come back. We're going to say, okay, reflection. What happened? What can we do better? Boom. And it's crazy because you don't end up ever taking 5 minutes because you're like, oh, I don't need 5 minutes. Crap. Okay. Well, yeah, I don't, because then you immediately almost get motivated to be better, to be different, to then say, all right, well, how can I improve on that? But if you don't have that reflection and you're just wandering around, I think is why so many people are adversarial. And, they're like, well, I, I was just suggesting something. And all of a sudden they're taking it like I told them their kid is the ugliest little troll they've ever seen. And you're like, whoa, that's so crazy.
Not really, but okay.
I know, you're like, okay. So I find that to be a quality that what I've noticed with all the people who are successful, who are driven, it's a weird, like, unbroken, even though we're all broken, but they're functional, unbroken. They're striving, is that they have that reflection and they're like, yeah, I don't dwell on the negative because there's plenty of negative to go around. You don't need to look far to find negative. Sometimes it's harder to find the gratitude and the silver lining and oh man, I never would have thought about that.
Sure. I mean, it's about controlling what you can control. And I mean, that is a powerful statement because that includes everything in your brain. You control everything. So, and that leads back to mindset, which we could be here all day.
I know, but I know it can be a kind of an overwhelming. It's funny if I give people specific topics, it tends to be less intimidating for them to talk about. But you're just like, well, what do you want to talk about? They're going, oh, I don't know. And then I said mindset, and you're like, oh my God, that's so big. Because you understand, like, to me, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just mind. Yeah, exactly. Like you told me that we were going to talk about mindset. I'm like, where do we start? like, what do we do? But no, I think that everything that we've talked about today is just, it all leads back to mindset. Everything leads back to mindset. Everything leads back to attitude, mentality. Those are all your mindset, which is different to everyone. And that's why maybe it is such a hard conversation topic, because do people think that mindset is there's one mindset? I hope not.
I think people view mindset almost as external, which is a weird statement, but they do. That's why they're trying to get it from books. And now, like, I listen to motivational speaking and I read motivational books and all that stuff, because then it can usually just spurs something, right? Or
Yeah.
like
Well,
this
that's what I'm
connection.
saying. Like, these books could be right because they give you ideas and they give you inspiration.
But it's also, I have not, any book that made sense to me, none of them have said this is the only way you can do it.
Sure.
And if you listen to anybody who's an entrepreneur, they're like, there's not one way to do, like, that's what entrepreneur is, the exact opposite of doing something only one way.
Right.
Innovative, creative. That's why sometimes art is hard to explain. Like,
Sure.
there's art to coaching. There's an art to
Teaching.
interacting with
Yeah.
people.
Communication. Yeah.
100%, right? So it's hard. It is encompassing, and it could be overwhelming to say, let's talk about everything, because that's what mindset is. But I actually didn't think of it that way. So I'm excited to do for the other interviews to say, let's talk about mindset, because I want to see where they go, and just be like, because I think some people do view mindset almost as external, like, whereas that's okay, but they don't know how internal it really is.
Mm-hmm.
Because
It's like people saying, I'm bored. No, you're not bored. You're making yourself bored.
yeah, you're not doing anything. Like,
Yeah.
that if you don't come out of quarantine with a new skill or several, a lot of this stuff, it's not because you lack time. It's because you are lazy and you are not motivated. You're not interested.
Sure.
And so that I'm bored is, I'm not interested.
Right.
So I'm going to end recording. Thank you very much. Do not hang up though for a second, okay, please?
Okay.
Thank you for taking your time on the 17th
What
of,
day is it? I don't know.
yeah, it's Friday, April 17th.
Friday, April 17th.